Meanwhile, let me bring you up to date now on another story as we begin this newscast. I've got a developing story that actually started right here yesterday on this show. Those of you who watch Rick's List Daily will recall that exactly 24 hours ago, just sitting in this chair, I was interviewing Congressman Joe Sestak, Democrat of Pennsylvania. Sestak was fresh off of his heady victory in Tuesday's Senate primary. He had just beaten five-term incumbent Arlen Specter, who enjoyed the backing of the White House. Now, this is interesting. Key words there. Who enjoyed the backing of the White House. Arlen Specter did. So I took this opportunity to ask the congressman, Sestak, about some reported White House efforts to protect Arlen Specter by getting Sestak out of the race somehow. How would they do it? Well, I want you to listen to this now, because this story is now going viral. And then we're going to tell you what just went down moments ago regarding that interview I did yesterday at the White House. First, back to the interview, back to yesterday. Play it, Raj. Did the President of the United States, did the White House approach you and offer you the Secretary of the Navy position?
I was asked the question about 2 months ago about something that happened last July. No one ever had asked me the question, did someone offer you something to get out? I answered it honestly, yes. And then I said, stop. I'm not going to get into what was a deal offer, because I'm not going to get out for a deal. I only get out if it was something that was right to do. And here's what I believe. This kind of deal-making in Washington is kind of what soured Americans and, quite frankly, soured me.
But, Congressman, you're not... But
I honestly believe this.
Hey, look, you know I appreciate you being here, and you know that I love having you on my show. But I just asked you a very direct question. Give me a direct answer. Did the President, did the White House offer you the Secretary of the Navy gig?
And the answer is, I said I was offered something. I don't have to go beyond that.
So here's the point, and here's what some Republicans and some critics are now saying. The possibility that the White House is trying to offer him that gig, as I referred to it, because if he took that, then he wouldn't run against Arlen Specter. That's what critics say. He wouldn't go beyond that, as you can see. He said he was offered something. Exactly what? We don't know what that something is. And you noticed I pressed him on it a second time. Our White House correspondent is Ed Henry. You've seen Ed Henry on the scene before. Before I even ask Ed a question, I want to show you now. This is Ed doing his job today with the White House Press Secretary. Listen to this.
Yesterday, Congressman Sestak was on CNN and said, in fact, that he was offered something. He wouldn't say more, but he said he was offered a job. Would you deny that?
And I don't have, I wouldn't give direct. I don't have anything to add to what Jake asked me.
So you can't rule out that a job was offered?
I don't have anything to add to what I said in March.
Okay, is that because the counsel's office said to Robert?
No.
Other advice the counsel?
Could you seek more information?
I don't have anything to add to what I said.
I know you don't now,
Can you define
why can't you? It sounds like you're saying you have no interest in getting information.
I'm just referring you what I said in March.
The questions seem good, but the answers are nowhere to be found. Ed, what's going on here?
Well, and he referred us back to March, where he didn't really say much then either. I think the problems for the White House are several-fold. One is you've got a Republican Congressman, Darrell Issa, up on Capitol Hill, who's got some investigative powers and has alleged that this was basically a bribe to get Congressman Sestak out of the race. So anything Robert Gibbs says could wind up being used in some sort of investigation on the Hill. So they want to be careful about that.
I want to stop you right there.
You'll remember.
I want to stop you right there, because you just talked about Darrell Issa, and I just want to get in for a moment. Hold your thought. Let's go to the tweet from Darrell Issa. He's been tweeting. He watched our show yesterday as well, and look what he just tweeted. He puts out, honorary watchdog. Thank you very much. I'm here to be a watchdog, by the way, for both sides, not for the GOP or the Dems. Honorary watchdog Rick Sanchez puts Joe Sestak on White House bribe hot seat. Notice the squirming. So obviously Darrell Issa is all over this story, and he's the one who's been pushing to ask the White House if, in fact, they were, as you use the word, I think, were all but bribing this guy to get out of the race, right?
Right, and that's the allegation we have to stress. And, you know, nothing has been proven yet. But when you have the man in the middle of this, Congressman Sestak, admitting to you there was an offer, at least of some kind, there is something to this story. And then when Robert Gibbs won't really answer these questions and is sort of ducking and evading the questions at the core of it, it certainly raises more questions. I think the other point, we step back from whether it was a bribe or not, is just the politics of it. Let's face it, what would be the White House motive to not talk about this is the fact that after Arlen Specter lost, the White House was really trying to pull back and say, well, you know, he switched parties, he was sort of dumped in our lap, he voted for some of the things the president, but we were never pushing hard for him. Well, wait a second. If you were offering a very prominent job, Secretary of Navy, and I stress if, to Sestak to get out of the Specter race, that suggests you were behind Senator Specter a lot more than you're letting on. And finally, I would just add that if, you know, as you were talking about with Congressman Sestak about Washington deal-making, that's the kind of political messiness that President Obama, as a candidate, said he wanted to steer clear of. The whole change agenda was about shaking up Washington, not doing these backroom deals, and that could hurt the Obama brand if it is proven that there was some of this deal-making going on.
Ed Henry is one of our best. He's on the story, as you can see, pressing the White House for answers. I'm glad we were able to help you in some small way, Ed. We appreciate your time. All right, take a look at this, folks. Ran